Welcome to the Health Rising podcast, where we empower you along your health journey. I'm your host, Dr. Jordan Salmon, and together we'll explore the steps to greater health, hope, and happiness. Let's rise together. Welcome back to the Health Rising podcast. I'm Dr. Salmon. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I take care of a lot of patients on a regular basis who are trying to lose weight. This seems to be one of the popular things of our current day with the GLP-1 agonists that have come out and are now being used and marketed to help people in that weight loss process. And so I see a lot of patients for this. And I just want to take a minute because this is something that I'm pretty passionate about. I have a number of patients who talk about gaining the weight back after coming off the weight loss medication. Well, I have patients who are on these weight loss medications but have already had weight loss surgery in order to lose the weight, but then gain the weight after the weight loss surgery and now are trying to re-lose that weight. And what do I think will happen after they come off those weight loss medications? They're going to gain the weight back. You will. If you are not learning the process of how to maintain a healthy weight, how to live at a healthier weight, and regularly engaging in healthy weight living, then your weight will come back. That's just a simple reality. And I don't mean that to shame you. I mean that to help you realize the reality of how many of us are living our lives. And when we live in a way that leads to weight gain and then use these medications to lose the weight, we haven't learned how to live in a way that won't lead to ongoing weight gain. But this is something that I think every one of my patients needs to hear, that you can do this. You can lose the weight. You don't need the weight loss medications. I will continue to prescribe them because I think they provide added support and help for patients who have really struggled. But if you think that the weight loss medication is what will keep you healthy, and you don't learn that you can keep you healthy and that you can make changes today that will improve your long-term health, then you will continue to look for another medication, another surgery, or whatever else to get back to that healthy weight. But in reality, you can do it. You are the answer. Believe that. And it is hard to believe, especially when you're looking in the mirror and you don't like what you see. And you look at yourself and you don't see yourself as a healthier person, as the person that you wish you could be. But you can get there. Take it one step at a time. That is what this whole health rising journey, health rising process, that is what I'm trying to illustrate to help my patients realize. You can do this. You can lose the weight. You can improve your health. You are the answer. You don't need so many of the products, medications, surgeries, and all the other things that our current healthcare system is throwing at you and telling you that you can't do this, that you need the healthcare system and what the healthcare system has to offer. You don't. You can do this. You can lose the weight. I believe in people. I believe in my patients. I believe in you. And I want to hear about it. Send me your emails. Send me your success stories. Believe in yourself. And I'm trying to teach you some of the principles and the processes and the things that will help you on that journey. And today, we're talking about another important one. Actually, I really love this one because I think it is a foundational step in our process. And this is what happens when you default, right? So we've gone through the process. We've set our implementation intention. We've written it out. This is the goal. This is what we're trying to do. And then we do it. We're engaging in that process. And then we default, right? We fail to level up to what we are trying to accomplish, right? So today, let's use the example of drinking water. I think that's a really important one for everyone. getting adequate water, adequate hydration on a regular basis, significantly, it's important for weight loss because it helps you so that you can have greater satiety, right? So that fullness, you don't feel as hungry because a lot of times we confuse our hunger cues for thirst. And then we go and we eat, when in reality, if we had drank water, we would be well hydrated and we wouldn't have that hunger as significantly. And so we would feel a lot better and we wouldn't overeat so much or wouldn't snack between meals and a number of other things. So drinking adequate water is a really valuable uh, step that can help you in your process. So let's say that you had drinking water on a regular basis as one of the things that you were working on. And there's a number of different ways that you can do this. You can have, cups that you drink so many cups in a day, or that you on the hour every hour you go and get a drink from a drinking fountain, or you have your water bottle that you carry with you and you drink through it a certain number of times per day. A number of different things that you can do to try and help you drink adequate water. Well, let's say that you get a new nice cup that you bring with you to work and you forget it one day, and so you don't drink as much water. Well, that's a default, right? You defaulted to what you were used to because you don't usually bring that water cup with you. And if your plan was to drink water from that cup during work, well, you're probably not going to if you forgot it at home. And so now comes the next step in the process, which is your discover moment, right? We take a moment to discover what happened, what went wrong, why did we default, why did we go back to what we were used to. So this is a moment of reflection, an opportunity to discover what is keeping us from living the healthier life that we're trying to live. I've talked a lot about shame on this podcast because I feel strongly that that is one of the major components of many of our health challenges. It's not so much that our bodies are inherently defective or have these disease processes, but that we're dealing with a lot of shame and a lot of the struggles of just living human lives. And that has led us to unhealthy eating habits, unhealthy management of stress, of our anxieties, of our depression, and these are not helping us. They're not improving our health. So let's get back to your default. So you defaulted. You didn't hold up to the goal, to your implementation intention that you had set, that you were attempting to perform. And we already talked about this last week, right? We kind of expected this. So now where do we go? So you take a moment and you discover what went wrong. Why did I not hold up to this plan that I had set in place? And this is a great opportunity to just discover. We're not going to be judging ourselves here. We don't need to be shaming individuals for, yeah, you did it again, right? We already knew that we were probably going to go back to this. So let's just take a moment to discover with curiosity, yeah, why do we keep going back to this? Why did we forget? So in our situation here, we forgot our water jug or water cup, whatever it is that you were attempting to increase your water intake, and you forgot it. Well, why did you forget it? What happened? Was it clean? Maybe it wasn't clean. Did you have it in a place that was easy to remember it? Is there some way that you can decrease the barriers to make that an easier step? We're not trying to make things more complicated. We want to make health easier. And that is the process of helping us improve health. So, in this scenario, what are things that we can do to lower the barriers to make it an easier step in remembering to get this water cup? Maybe what we end up doing is we say, hey, let's buy an additional cup that we just leave at work. Great. There you go. It's already there. We don't even have to think about it. That's a great option. Maybe you just leave it in the car. Maybe you leave it right by your bag that you usually take. Whatever it was, try and discover, okay, why did I default on this step that I was trying to accomplish to improve my health? And once you can figure out what went wrong, then you can figure out ways to make it better. So barriers are those things that stand in the way of doing a particular action. And we may want to increase barriers if there's something that we're trying to get rid of, a habit that we regularly turn to. Maybe we like snacking on snack foods. So increase the barriers so that you don't have the opportunity, or so that it's much harder for you to perform that activity. So especially if you snack on food when you're emotional at home or late at night, maybe you choose to increase the barriers by getting rid of all that snack food so that it's not even in your home and you would have to drive to the grocery store in order to get that snack food. In our scenario, we're trying to lower the barriers, make it easier, figure out a way to make the habit that we're trying to perform an easier habit, to make it so that we can more quickly perform this activity and it's not so difficult. And if you find that you are defaulting on a regular basis in the same area, then perhaps you need to rethink your implementation intention. Maybe you need something that's easier, something more simple. Remember, the goal is to be regularly engaging in those habits and activities that improve our health. It's not to do some giant act that we think will significantly improve our health, right? Losing 10 pounds, sure, that can be helpful to your weight, but more beneficial would be to regularly be eating and living in a way that will lead to regular healthy weight. That would be more beneficial for you in the long-term health plan. And again, this is going back to kind of what I opened the episode with, right? The medications and surgeries, they can provide significant relief to patients who are struggling and suffering. But again, they are short sighted. We need you to be a healthy individual. And that's what the health rising pathway is all about. It's trying to teach you that in a way that you can replicate and that you can live on a day to day basis. So here we are. And if something is too difficult or you have defaulted again and again, then make it easier. Make it really simple. If you are trying to go to the gym and you want to exercise at the gym, but you can't seem to get yourself to do it, and you seem to default on a regular basis, then maybe the goal is just to put your gym clothes on. Just put them on in the day. And that's it. That's your goal. And you start with that. And obviously that's not going to result in the long-term goals that we are hoping for. But if you start with that and you can regularly get yourself to put the gym clothes on, and then you maybe make another goal to get in the car and drive to the gym, and then you go and you just touch the gym doors or wherever it is that you're going to perform the exercises. You just show up, just be there, and you don't even have to exercise. Whatever it is to get you to regularly engage in the behaviors that you know in the long run will improve your health is what we need you to be doing. And so the discovery period after a default is an opportunity to reflect and say, okay, why are we still struggling with this? What is keeping us from making this pathway that we're trying to uncover our new default? How do we get to a new way of healthier living to be the regular day to day way of living? So, in order to catch ourselves, we need to have a regular accountability moment, an accounting of how we're doing with these goals. We've written down our implementation intention, whatever we intend to do, and we're trying to do it, but then we default. Okay, the goal is to catch ourselves in the default as quickly as possible so that we're not spiraling out of control and then feeling a lot of shame and guilt because we, again, are eating a certain way or living a certain way or engaging in these unhealthy habits that we feel really shameful about. So let's have an accountability opportunity. And you can schedule this with yourself. You say, okay, every Sunday, or, if you want to do it during the week, every Friday afternoon or evening, you schedule an appointment with yourself. You're not alone. You are with yourself and you account to yourself or someone else if you want to do it with someone else or you have a good accountability partner who can help you in this process. But having the opportunity to catch yourself as quickly in the default so that then you can troubleshoot, okay, what happened? Where did we go wrong? What are the barriers that we can lower, or how can we create bigger barriers so that we can avoid certain behaviors that we're trying to stop doing? And then how do we go forward and re-engage in this process? So that's what the accountability moment is all about. It is not about shaming us, right? You don't need to shame yourself for re-engaging in a particular eating pattern, for engaging in particular media consumption, for whatever the unhealthy habit is that you have turned back to, which was your default, was the way that you are used to doing things, which was what we anticipated would occur, right? So now we are just taking an opportunity to say, yep, we went back to it. So let's figure out why we keep returning to this and how we can help ourselves turn away from it and go to a different, healthier way of living. So that's your accountability moment. And having a partner that you trust, who you know will love you and be there for you through all of your failures and your shortcomings, and no matter what, that they will believe in you and cheer you on. That is the type of accountability partner you need. But also someone who will hold you accountable, who won't say, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. This isn't that important of a goal anyway. Someone who believes in a healthier version of you, maybe even one that you can't even see yourself right now. But I believe that you can do this with yourself because you deserve that. You are the best accountability partner for yourself and for your long term health, for your long term goals, for what you really want to become. And so you have this moment, schedule it so that you're doing it on a regular basis and you can account to yourself and say, yes, I'm doing it, or no, I am defaulting. And then figure out, okay, here's what's happening. Here's what's tripping me up. This is why I've defaulted. This discovery period is really an opportunity to get to know ourselves a little better in an intimate way and to really see ourselves and see some of the things that we are struggling with. Maybe we're an emotional eater and we're not appropriately dealing with some difficult emotions, some really challenging mental health struggles. And the eating is not doing you any good. It's not helping with your mental health, right? This is adding dirty pain. And it's already painful to go through emotional struggles. That is already a difficult thing. To be human is to experience uncomfortable and challenging situations, and they are difficult and painful. We do not need to add pain to these situations by engaging in activities or behaviors, habits that are negative, that negatively influence our health. These coping mechanisms that are not good for our long term health, right? So turning to alcohol to try and deal with mental health will not help your mental health. And a lot of times will create an added guilt because now we're engaging in unhealthy behaviors that we feel shameful about. So, this discovery period is not an opportunity to shame ourselves. It's an opportunity to get to know ourselves a little deeper and perhaps recognize some very challenging situations or things that we need to deal with, and can open our eyes to those opportunities, those areas of growth, and then make a plan to deal with those things in appropriate and healthy ways so that you can heal, so that you can begin to live a healthier life and enjoy life the way that life is meant to be enjoyed. I have personal experiences with this shame process. First, I'll explain two mindsets. There is a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So, a fixed mindset is one that is static, that is the way that you are. It's like a label, right? And so, this was how I viewed myself for an extended period of time. I was smart. And in school, I did well in school. I did well on my tests and did well, all the way through all the way into medical school. And it seemed like school was just easy for me, natural, and I was smart. But I viewed myself with a fixed mindset in that I thought that's just who I was. I was just smart. I was a smart person. And what I didn't understand was the power of having a growth mindset. A growth mindset is one where you are flexible, right? That maybe you're not necessarily smart, but you are an individual who engages in activities and behaviors that have increased your intelligence, that have helped you to become smarter on a daily or regular basis. And having this type of a mindset is much more powerful for flexibility with challenging situations. So I had this fixed mindset for myself. And as I got to medical school, things were a lot more difficult. I was dealing with a lot more material, and it was overwhelming at times. But I managed. And then I had a opportunity to fail a test. And I call it an opportunity today after a long time of growing and learning from this experience. But I, in the moment, did not consider this an opportunity. No, this was very shameful because now all of a sudden, my inflexible version of myself, who was smart, had burst. It was no more. It fallen, collapsed, right? The smart individual that I saw myself was now the complete opposite. I was a failure. I was a nobody. I was dumb. And you can see how this is very difficult to go from positive to negative, right? This inflexible, fixed mindset can be overbearing and difficult. And it was. And I felt a lot of shame in this experience. And it took me a long time to understand this experience and to grow from this, unfortunately, because I did not view myself with this growth mindset. But a growth mindset can be really valuable as we go forward with our health journeys because it enables us to not see ourselves as failures. We are not fat again. We are not depressed or anxious. We are humans dealing with human emotions, dealing with human challenges, and this can allow you to begin to take more control over your future and start to practice some habits that can improve your long term health. and allow you to come out of some of these depressive episodes and allow you to improve your anxious thinking patterns and allow you to live a healthier life and to have a better or a more healthy figure, a more healthy body. When you look at your health journey from the growth mindset, it allows you to see these defaults from a whole new perspective. These are not failures. These are stepping stones to growth. These are an insight into your soul and an opportunity to become who you were meant to become. These are not failures. You are not a failure. You are learning and growing and discovering how to come out of these typical pathways that you tend towards and start living a healthier life and become a healthier you today. So, this discovery period, this discovery process is just an opportunity to see ourselves through a new lens and recognize what things are keeping us from going where we want to go, from becoming who we really want to become. And then how do we change our environment and change the pathway, make it an easier pathway and make things obtainable. Hope that also in this discovery period, we can see the positives in our default moments, right? Maybe we actually had, for the example, this individual who was going to bring their cup to work and they keep forgetting it, right? So maybe they even have gotten to the point where they even have the cup in their car and they just keep forgetting it in the car and are unable to go and get it because they're at work or whatever the situation. But that's a default, but you can discover that you are growing in spite of the defaults, right? And you can see the positivity, you can see the growth that is occurring within yourself in your health journey. So, this discovery period gives you an opportunity to recognize that you are not your defaults. You are not defined by these defaults, and you are not a failure. You are simply a human, and you're engaging in what you're used to doing, right? These default activities, and that you have the power to, again, rise above them because you have discovered some of the things that might keep pushing you towards your default pathway. And as you approach your discovery period with more curiosity, it allows you to see yourself with more empathy and be able to just move forward a little further along the path. It does not matter if you're going slowly in the health rising pathway. What matters is your trajectory. What matters is the direction that you are heading. And if you're just crawling along with small changes over weeks or months, you are improving and you are getting to where you hope to be. And that is what this is all about. That is what becoming healthy, I believe, is really all about. It's about living the lives that we were meant to live with our current human challenges and struggles that are very real and that can often lead to difficult setbacks and difficult defaults. But we just keep trying, keep doing the best you can. And when you default, take that moment to discover, learn something from that default, allow it to be a growth opportunity, and then have a do over. And that is our next step. You get another opportunity to do something again. What a gift that you can try again. That is a glorious opportunity. So that's where we're headed next time. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope that you continue forward on your health rising journey. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Health Rising podcast. I practice as a direct primary care physician in the Houston, Texas area. You can read about my blog and learn more about direct primary care at healthrisingdpc.com. If you have any questions or thoughts you'd like to share, feel free to message me on X or on Instagram at HealthRisingDPC. Until next time, remember to choose health and be kind to yourself. This podcast serves solely for educational purposes. The information provided here is not intended to be medical advice. Listening to this podcast does not establish a doctor-patient relationship between the host, guest, or anyone associated with the podcast and the listener. For personalized medical advice tailored to your specific health concerns, please consult your own family physician. Any interactions with patients or experiences shared in this podcast have been altered to ensure confidentiality and comply with HIPAA regulations. Names, genders, diagnoses, and any potentially identifiable information have been modified to protect the privacy of individuals. By continuing to listen to the Health Rising podcast, you acknowledge and agree to these terms.